Okay, so we're going to work with Abby again today. She's coming along pretty good, but we're still going to ask her to connect with us a little bit. Come on, just looking at me is not enough now. There you go, girl. There you go. All right, I'm going to ask her to move out a little bit. Come on. So Abby's having a little bit of a digestive issue today. And the best thing for her to do is to move a little bit. Horse is designed to be eating small bites of grass constantly and moving all the time. And the movement is what helps push that grass through her gut. So if she's having some digestive issues, she needs a little help pushing things through her gut a little faster. Now, I don't want her to move in a real anxious or excited way. I just want her to move a little bit. And she's not having enough problems that it's really life-threatening or anything. She's just having a little bit of a stomach ache. So the movement is the one thing that will help that more than anything. So we're just doing a little detachment work. And I love the way she's keeping that inside ear on me. She's staying a little bit connected with me, even though she's not feeling the best in the world. Okay, so I'm just going to move the pressure from her side back to her rear. Ask her to come back to me. And she's licking and chewing a little bit. That's okay. I want her to go ahead and release that stress before I ask anything else of her. So anytime she stops following me, I'm just going to go put a little pressure back on her rear. And if you notice, as I release that pressure, I'm releasing it on an arc toward her rear end so that she will continue to follow me. I'm not ever putting myself in front of her. If I end up in front of her, it's because she puts me there, not because I put me there. And that's what she just did. She just put me in front of her. Yeah, that's just a chicken squawking over there. Yeah. So one of the ways that we kind of gauge how much pain she's in is by if she's trying to check out from it or not. And while we were getting her in here, I'd noticed that every once in a while she would do that. And that's okay. I don't mind her checking out from the pain a little bit. But if she gets to checking out from it too much, then we're going to have to take more stringent measures to help her. But right now, she's not showing that it's so uncomfortable that she has to stay checked out from it. So when I'm petting her and she moves into me a little bit, I'm going to quit petting her and release all the pressure off of her, because I want to reward her for moving into that touch. There you go. There you go, good. Good. Okay, so she followed me with her eyes and with her ears and with her head all the way around. So that's pretty good. The only thing scarier for a horse at first than having a hand on them is having two hands on them. So her ability to tolerate that is real important. So now as I'm doing this, I'm going to start asking her a little bit to let me tell her which way I would like for her head to go. You know, that's going to be important as we get further in this process. So when I put a little bit of pressure on the left side of her nose, I would like for her to bend it to the right. And she did, so I released all the pressure. And I don't want her to check out and do that. I want her to stay present, stay connected while I do that. I don't want her checking out to fulfill my request. Okay, can you bend it that way? Good. Good job. That's really good. So I'm just massaging the inside of her ear a little bit. And she's not sure she likes that, but she's not sure she doesn't. Again, at this stage, I never go to the front of the horse. I ask the horse to put me in front of him. And the reason for that is I don't want this horse to feel like I'm trying to control her. One of the mistakes we make way too often is controlling a horse's head. I want her to learn to control her own head, but I also want her to start to recognize when I'm making a request for her to do something with her head. I'm never going to force her to do it. I'm going to ask. And if we've got the right kind of connection, then she'll want to do the things I'm asking her to do, and I'll want to do the things she's asking me to do. So I can ask her to move her head toward me, or I can ask her to move it away. And when she does whatever it is I've asked, I'm going to release the pressure. Because I want her to feel safe doing what I ask her to do. If she does what I ask her to do and I increase the pressure, then that's going to feel unsafe to her. I want her to always feel safe about what we're doing. And if she feels unsafe about it, I want her to tell me. And that's never been much of a problem with either of these two horses. They're usually really good about telling us when we're doing something that they feel is unsafe. The last thing I want them to do is just check out and accept it. I want to know their opinion about what we're doing. And right there, I felt her stiffen up a little, start to move away, and that's okay. I'm going to let her tell me the things that make her feel uncomfortable. Now, when I find one of those things, I'm going to try to help her with it. So I'm going to go back up here where she feels safe, and then I'm going to go down there, but then I'm going to come immediately back up here where she feels safe. And then I'm going to go back there, and just before she starts feeling unsafe, I'm going to come back to someplace where she feels safe. And before long, she should be okay with me going down there. Going to that place where she feels unsafe, because she's learned that, no, he's always going to go back to where I feel safe anytime I tell him I don't feel safe. Yeah, right there. So I can just go back where she feels safe. So I'll just go back up here for a while. That doesn't mean I'm going to avoid that area where she feels unsafe. I'm just not going to force my way to it. I'm going to keep asking for it until she says, okay, yeah, I'm all right with that. And I'm going to do that on her whole body. I'm going to pay attention to her wherever I go, to how she feels about it. And I'm going to allow her to tell me how she feels about it. So as I start to move back here along her back, I start seeing the wrinkles come into her nose, into her muzzle, where she's saying, yeah, I'm a little uncertain about that. That's okay. We'll go back up here where you're okay. There. That time, she looked and connected with it a little bit, so I went back to where she felt safe. And now this time, when I go back here to the back, I don't see those wrinkles coming into her muzzle here. So how about if I go back just a little further? Yeah. And as I work my way down her back, what started out as the place that made her feel unsafe eventually becomes a safe place I can go back to. And here's where it's really important to stay as connected with your horse as you possibly can and start to notice little things that make her worried. And I don't know if this camera will pick it up, but watch right there underneath her eye. The further I go back, the more pronounced those wrinkles underneath her eye become. And as they become a little more pronounced, I just go back to someplace she feels safe, which 5 minutes ago was the place that caused the wrinkles under her eye. But now is a safe place I can go back to. So now as I go back there, and now I'm getting a really soft eye when I go back there. That's really good, girl. So I'm just giving her a little break because she's doing really, really well with this. So how do you feel about me doing that on this left side, huh? How would you feel about that? Hmm? There you go. So I let her reposition herself to where she wants me. That doesn't mean we're not ever going to work on that side. It's just that when she says, hey, I need a break, could you work on this side a while? I'm going to honor that, and I'm going to do it. Now there's going to be some point where if I start feeling like she's using that to avoid going somewhere where she's uncomfortable, then I'm going to ask her to stick with it. Because you can't always avoid the uncomfortable. You have to figure out how to deal with the uncomfortable. Still a little uncomfortable there between her front legs, that's okay. So she's starting to show a lot of discomfort with me just standing there petting her doll. And when she tells me, no, there's something going on right now that I feel really uncomfortable about that, I'll say, okay, well, take a minute. All right, girl. So now she's a lot more relaxed about it. So the thing is, she always has the right to change her mind. And I want to notice when she does. And I want it to be safe for her to change her mind. Because if it's not safe for her to change her mind, then it's not going to be safe for her to go be all right with things that she's not been all right with. Whichever way she needs to change her mind is okay with me. Oh. Yeah, now you're lacking that a little bit. So the same thing now that she's kind of melting into. A while ago, just before I walked away, she was gritting her teeth, and you could start to see those wrinkles coming into her muzzle and up underneath her eye. So those are the things I'm always watching for, because they'll tell you how they feel about things. They just don't do it in the language we understand unless we learn that language. So, and the only way we learn that language is by listening to them. We can't learn that language by talking to them. We have to learn that language by listening to them. Now they can learn our language by us talking to them. There. That's lots better. That's a lot better. So now I'm right back where we'd gotten to before she started getting a little anxious. And we're even going a little beyond that. If for some reason I hadn't listened to her when she was telling me that was bothering her, she wouldn't be so amenable to me going further. There you go, girl. It was a little too much, too fast. It's okay. I'll come back. I'll come back. There, and when you relax, I'll quit completely. You're filthy. I know. Well, it's not your fault, is it? All right. So I'm going to ask her to move a little more. I saw her eyes kind of go away for a minute. And that's okay. I'm just going to let her move a little bit, ask her to move a little bit. Keep that gut working. These old hot Texas summers where all the grass turns brown and disappears. Horses will sometimes eat anything that's green. And if they're not used to having that particular thing on their gut, sometimes it upsets their stomach a little bit. Laura, have you got a halter here handy? I may use it, I may not. I just want to start getting her used to seeing one and learning that it's not anything she needs to be afraid of. Man, that's a pretty halter. I don't know who makes those, but it must be some really talented individual.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask her to explore that thing a little bit. Yeah. Yeah. That's good, girl. That's good. That's good. So this, it's going to be kind of like a brush. It's just something we use. Yeah.
Cosmo, come here. Hey.
So I'm going to go through the same process with this halter that I go through with my hand. I'm going to find a place she feels relatively safe. And every once in a while I'm going to go somewhere where it worries her a little bit. But then I'm going to go back to where she feels relatively safe. I don't want her to worry any more about this halter than she worries about my hand.
Cosmo,
And she says I need to walk away and regulate a little bit. I'm okay with that. That's good. So the more she engages with it, the more the pressure will go away. I want her to engage with this halter. I don't want her to avoid it. I don't want her to fight it. I just want her to engage with it. And if you'll notice, I don't try to sneak around her with it. I want her to get used to its floppiness and its unpredictability, and to be okay with all that. And to understand that that's not something that's threatening. That's just the nature of ropes and halters, and people with ropes and halters. I don't ever want to have to sneak up on my horse, put a halter on him. I want them to be okay with everything that's involved with it. That's very good. Very good, Abby. I can tell it's starting to warm up. She's sweating on my shirt from the inside. There you go, Abby. All right, look at this thing. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. Yeah. Do you want to investigate it a little, huh? Yeah. Oh, that's a good release. Good. That is a little upsetting, isn't it? There you go. Come toward it. Yeah. That's all right. Get all that out. There you go. Next time we work with her, I've got a halter that I made especially for left-handed horses that you can put on from the right side. Just because, like her, she prefers that I be over here. And when I'm starting this out, I want her to be where she's got the most confidence. She's got the most confidence with me on this side. So if I use the halter that's built to go on from this side, and it's okay to do that, there's no rules about which side a halter has to go on, but I built one just for left-handed horses, so I can do this in a way that gives them the most confidence. There you go, girl. What about the end of this rope? How you feel about it? Hmm? How you feel about it? Hmm? Yeah. Oh. That's good. That's good. That's good. Good job. Let's move around a little more. Come on. So she wants you to stay on her right side when you're up close, and she wants you to be on her left side when you detach. And I don't know if that's something that came naturally to her or if that's something we created. But in case it is, I'm going to ask her, let me be on this right side while we're detaching, so she can learn that that's okay too. There you go, girl. Now come back to me. There you go. Come on back. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think? Yeah. Yeah. So this time she moved into my hand on her left side. Maybe I just confused her. There you go, girl. Yeah. See, there's nothing wrong with the way that feels. That feels pretty good, don't it? It's kind of soft. Probably softer than my old rough hand, I guess. Yeah. It's probably softer than my old rough hand is. Yeah. Okay. I'll go back up here. I'll go back up here. There you go. So as I'm doing this, I'm kind of moving around toward her side a little. And I don't want her, I'm not trying to desensitize her to this rope. I want her to notice where it's at all the time and find a different response to it. There you go. That was better. So she looked at it that time. She noticed it. She started the process of engaging with it a little. There you go. That was better. That was better. So, that thing still hits her amygdala, but that time she was able to override that flight response with her neocortex and realized, oh, that's not something I need to run from. And that's the kind of response I'm really hoping to get to see out of a horse, is that they're able to override that fear response and engage with something that's not going to hurt them instead of run from it. And that's not desensitizing them, it's actually sensitizing them to sensory input. I want them to be, just like with clients, I want them to become aware of the sensory input and figure out how to deal with it instead of trying to avoid it. Yeah, that's really good, girl. Okay. There you go, girl. So now she's starting to follow that rope a little. I'm going to get it out of her way. Hey, girl. Let's don't go out there in the sun. Let's stay here in this shade. What do you say? What do you say? Let's stay here in the shade. Yeah. That's a good girl. You did really good work today. All right, I think that's a good place to stop.